Hey there, it's Linda, the Habit Boss. You are very welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcast, you're very, very welcome as well. I have decided to create a series, and this series is going to be simply called 10 Things I Discovered About Me Since Being Diagnosed with ADHD. The series is really intended to help people who are on the journey to discovery, maybe pre diagnosis, maybe post diagnosis. And really, these are the things that I discovered that maybe I was doing, maybe it wasn't very healthy towards me. And it's really to see if my situation and my journey can help you guys in any way, shape, or form. My background is 15 years in corporate, opening a well-being business, a Pilates business, and then on to creating a podcast called Corporate Cam, and ultimately recognizing that I wanted to help people with their establish habits, establish systems in business, and that is where I am now, the habit boss. So I help people create everyday sustainable habits that they can really, you know, progress themselves. And it's not about perfection, it's not about consistency. I help people establish routines, create rituals, and listen to their bodies more than anything else. Listen to their menstrual cycles, listen to the inkling of burnout. Personally, I don't ever think we're going to beat burnout, but I do think that we can balance it. I do think that there are strategies there that we can see the signs and we can help ease it. But personally, with hyperfocus with ADHD, I have not been able to beat burnout. I do recognize the signs and I go ding, ding, ding. It's time to take it slow. First up on this uh, series of 10 things that I've discovered about me since being diagnosed with ADHD is friendships. I am the connector. I am the networker. I am the bubbly, vivacious person. And what I have discovered is innately I'm that person to a certain extent. However, I was masking that person. I was, pushing myself out there and really relying on other people and relationships in order to get a dopamine hit, in order to really feel fulfilled. And it's a funny one because from a very early age, I was very, very comfortable in my own company. ADHD, ADHD, really for me, but we're focusing on the ADHD aspect of it. I was very, very comfortable in my own company. I was extremely, extremely happy to be by myself, to figure out problems, to do the same, complete the same jigsaw 10 times in a row, to complete the same system 10 times in a row. If something had to be figured out, one of my earliest memories of a repetitious thing that I used to do is there was, I don't, for anybody that lives outside of Ireland or Europe, the Weetabix cereal used to like, cereals used to give out free things or you'd save tokens or whatever. And Weetabix had an atlas that they sent out with tokens. And I would sit down and draw the flags from the atlas. And that was a really kind of safe space for me. I'm not very good at art, but I did like to create. So my repetitious thing was to draw the flags from the atlas, and they were three in a line and like seven down or something, and there was loads of pages of them, and I used to just draw flags. Um, I remember I had magnetic numbers. And it was like a jigsaw, but the numbers would fit into places. And I used to time myself and fit in the numbers in over and over and over again. For anybody that remembers the Now series, I don't know if they're still out there now, kind of one to whatever. It was it was up past 100 the last time I've seen it. one of my very first memories is having Now 10 on cassette and literally wearing the ribbon down, wearing the ribbon. And it's funny the amount of songs on there. Actually, I am going to link, I'm writing this here, Now 10 to this because there was so many great songs from the 80s there. People are probably rolling their eyes back in the 1800s. Um, so yes, the point being, I was very happy to be by myself, very happy to, yeah, and also relished company, relished friends, and obviously was always the third wheel of a friendship. There was a couple of people that I would have been very good friends with growing up, but there was always somebody else there. There was always an extra person there. So I was never like the best friend, or I was never, and that's okay. I mean, I'm probably still not the best friend, and I'm really okay with that. Um, but I found that I wouldn't have to mask in front of one of them and I'd have to mask in front of the other. So that's where the authenticity didn't lie. The friendship just wasn't true because I really wasn't being my true self, I suppose, more than anything else. And my first real experience of not being the connector. So I really, I still have friends now that I had probably from secondary school. I didn't really retain any of my primary school friends. I didn't retain college friends and people that I've worked with. I might have retained one or two. I never thrived in corporate. I never had those people that I could rely on in corporate. I just, I'd have people that I'd go for a coffee with, but they were never really friends. I just, I think I was in corporate, I had three corporate roles and four actually, but I'm thinking about three of them. And I was always the person that wasn't asked for lunch. I think I was just, I was probably odd, like, you know what I mean? It was easier not to have me there. And like, I can look back at that and kind of understand it as well. I wasn't particularly bitchy person. I just, I was probably a bit odd, to be honest with you. And you can't really get to know somebody in a 9 to 5 environment unless you're willing to, create that opportunity to go outside. And, I would find that I would make my friends in work on nights out when I was a bit braver with alcohol, and a bit more social as well. I think for me, in work was I've always kind of coasted through life. I've always kind of um not done the bare minimum, but struggled to have a structure where things would be consistent in my life. And that's what I've really built up over the past 5 years or so. But even in school, I wouldn't have studied regularly. I in college as well. I attained a degree. I got my leaving cert, but very much by cramming. Very much by information goes in and then it's gone. When I don't need it, it disappears from my brain. So I was a rock star in meetings. I worked in FMCG and I used to have to go into head offices or I'd speak at different events and I was a rock star. I honestly give me a subject and I will be very knowledgeable on it and give me a product to get listed on a shelf in a big supermarket chain. Absolutely no problem. I'll get that done for you. And I was extremely good at my job. Give me a computer system and I will build you a shelf full of products. People who don't even realize what I'm talking about. I was really, really good at it, but I just could not form relationships beyond that. And like, as I say, that's okay. That's where it was. Um, and as far as friendships are concerned, I still have kind of like the mainstay friends I had when I was in secondary school and a couple of friends around that. But what I discovered I suppose in my late 20s I was very much the connector. I was the person that would send out the mail, or not the mail, the message, or would be ringing, are we going out on Saturday night? And, it wasn't that, you're chasing people to go out with, but it was just that, we'd get the group together, and we'd head out. And then really around, there was one incident where I decided I was just going to stop doing this. And I was going to stop being the glue that kept people together, and it fell apart. There was probably a good group of people, and the group fell apart completely. And yeah, it was really big learning for me, that, sometimes if you're that person that brings people together, that's your role, when you stop doing it, nobody else is going to fill that role. And you have to be happy with that scenario as well. And I suppose different things had happened in my life, and I was quite happy with that scenario, and other people in the group were quite happy with that scenario. Um, Pushing on then, when I left corporate, and then I kind of had my own business, and I was very social, with clients, who are not your friends either. But I would be quite social with clients. And because I would get a lot from those social experiences, that kind of takes the box in relation to social outings for me, because I would get so much from those social experiences, but I wouldn't have the energy to conduct other social experiences, if that makes sense. So um that ticked the box. And as well as that, when I met my now husband, that was another avenue that, I had to put energy into. So it just all kind of fell into place from there. During COVID, I suppose that was when friendships were really tested, and who were you keeping in touch with, and who were you seeing via, phone, or, who were you meeting for a walk, or who. And then on from that was the, diagnosis of ADHD, and understanding that there was a lot of people, friends and family, that I would have been reaching out to first, or if there was an issue, I was the one to reach out, or if there was. And to be honest with you, I really just got sick of it. I got sick of being that person who sends the text message first all of the time. And about a year ago, into the last 6 months, I decided to conduct an experiment. And the experiment was, I was just going to stop texting people and see if people texted it me, because I just have been so busy building this business with children, with different scenarios, coping with the diagnosis, managing my own energy. I just decided, that's it. Just, I'm not going to reach out. And if other people reach out to me, well and good. We'll see what goes from there. And it's such a good exercise to do. It really is, because it brings forth who really cares about you, but it also takes away a lot of the shit in your life that you really don't need. A lot of those false relationships that you have, that you just, like, I think more power. I'm not here to judge anybody. Anybody who is 45 and still has fucking 20 friends, more power to your elbow. I mentally, emotionally, and physically cannot cope with that amount of people in my life. And that's that's okay. Either way is okay. It's whatever works for you, whatever works for your emotional and your mental well-being. If you need those people. And I think that's what the real kind of contradiction is with people who are neurodivergent, whether you're autistic, whether you're ADHD, whether you're a combination of both, is that, we don't tend to miss people a lot, but we feel really left out of things when we're left out. And it's such a contradiction in terms. A photo of a night out that you haven't been invited to can really cut to the bone and really hurt. But it's all about how you manage that and how you let yourself be upset about it. But really, how big of a deal is it? How big of a deal is it? And I have found that the less I mask, and you'll find this happens with me, that I do go around in tangents. I will come back around to the point. But the less I mask, the less people are around me. And it's funny, it's the people who I never masked with are still here, if that makes sense. So the people that I never masked with are still the people in my life 25 years later. And that's super important. That it's super telling. And the people that I meet now, I probably form stronger bonds with because I am myself and I'm not pretending or, you know, playing a role in order for people to like me, because essentially that's what I did for most of my life. So I'm not playing that role anymore. And that's a relief. It's such a relief. And, you know, time is finite and it's really important to me. I'm either building a business, looking after my own emotional and mental well-being, my physical health, with my kids, helping with homework, with my partner, being part-time taxi driver that a parent is, and then friendship after that. It's there's a lot of things that come before friendship in my life. And I think that that is one thing that when we let go of the need to rally people, the need to, throw a text out there. It's always nice to let people know they're appreciated. It's always nice. You'll know these people that you can try this out on. You'll know the people that you're getting a transactional relationship from rather than a mutually beneficial one. And what I'm saying about transactional is that, you're either doing something for them or they're doing something for you, and there isn't a two-way street. Or, there's people that you just leave and you're absolutely emotionally exhausted from. And, this is consistent behavior because let's face it, we all lean on people at one stage or another. Or another example is, the people that you think are your friends and you're there for them in their time of need. And when you need to talk about something or you need something, they're nowhere to be seen. So it's just a really good exercise. The biggest thing is being very, very comfortable with the results, being very, very comfortable with the phone not ringing and the WhatsApps not pinging. And you have to be very strong in character and be very comfortable in your own company. So I'll just leave it there for now. That's my number one in this series. So looking at friendships, looking at the authenticity behind fresh friendships, looking at how we mask in friendships and how we are not our true selves in some friendships, and why aren't we our true selves? Why? And then the end result for me is conducting that experiment of, if I don't contact somebody for 1 to 2 weeks, or people from 1 to 2 weeks, who is contacting me? And you'll see a pattern. You'll see a pattern emerge. If anybody has any questions about this episode, please contact me. Please send me a message. I'm the Habit Boss across social media. You can pop a comment down below. I have an abundance of resources for you, from habit trackers to really looking after your well-being, putting in place implementation for work-life balance, looking at time management, looking at balancing burnout, not reducing burnout. I have a lot of resources that I will link below, and really and truly we'll take it from there. I will do another 9 parts to this. I don't know if it'll be this long for them. I like short and sweet. I'm sure you do too. Um, and if there's anything that didn't make sense in this, because sometimes it doesn't, because my head is a little bit fuzzy when I speak like this, please let me know as well. Thank you so much for listening. I would really appreciate it if you would like, if you would subscribe, because it really does make a difference. It hugely makes a difference. And um, if you want some more honest talk, um, subscribe and listen to me. I'll talk to you soon.